very, very special guest with us today. Ketayma.
I think men are more afraid than when they give themselves credit for. I think men are human beings. What can you do? What can you provide? What abilities can you do? If something were to pop off right now and 30 men came in with guns and stuff like that, and you make it out alive and your wife doesn't, they gonna look at you.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to figure out how to take out 30 dudes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the NOIRPOISED podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life.
Welcome back to the NOIRPOISED podcast. Today we have a special guest, a friend of ours that we've known for many years, who's here to share a little bit of his personal experience. We'll be discussing mental health in the Black community. It's something that's very near and dear to our hearts because we often neglect it. And growing up in the Christian faith, I think a lot of times we approach it with just a spiritual outlook. And I think it's important to pay attention to other details when it comes to it and not only the spiritual outlook. Nonetheless, I do think everything is connected. But I think as a community, we need to pay more attention to those that may be dealing with certain situations and getting the help that we need, professional help that we need. He's going to be sharing a little bit of his experience. And while we laugh a lot in the episode, because that's what we do, right? As Black people, we laugh at our pain.
Yeah.
But we wanted you guys to know that although we're laughing through it, that doesn't mean that it's something that should be ignored. So if you do feel like you're going through similar situations or any situation at all, I think it's important to acknowledge that and get the help that you need from the professionals that you need, along with the prayer. All right. So we hope you guys enjoy, and comment below if you have any suggestions, if you have any advice for other people who may be listening and would love to get some additional insight on the conversation.
Yep.
All right. Enjoy. Welcome back to the NOIRPOISED podcast. We have a very, very special guest with us today. Ketayma.
Hey, how you doing?
We've known you for how long now?
For 10 years.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so over 10 years we've known you, and from the first day I met you, I specifically have a vivid memory of it. I was getting my hair done, and my friend was like, "Yeah, you mind if so and so comes over?" And I was like, you put in a weave in my head." She said, "It's no big deal, no big deal." And you came over and we literally talked for hours while I got my hair done. That was my first experience with Ketayma. And from that moment on, I was like, I love this guy. I love him. He's just like genuine. You're authentic. You're unapologetic. I love it. And so when you hit us up, I was like, no, we have to have you on the podcast because I feel like you would be a really dope guest to have, especially on this topic.
And
are you getting teary-eyed right now? Is that what's happening?
No, like you said, just piggyback off of what you said. He's a really dope dude.
Yeah.
You know, we don't talk all the time, but anytime we do chat, you know, you get it's the same vibe, you know.
Yeah.
And even when I just saw him outside, I'm like, man, you know, you got the same feeling. Like he's someone who's warm and caring, who's funny. You know, he's an overall great dude.
Right now, you want a tissue?
Y'all gonna mess with my thug with me. Streets needs to know I'm still a thug.
Yes. So we're really excited to have you. We're really excited to have this conversation with you. A conversation that I feel like is really important within our community. Mental health. It's something that I feel like is on the rise these days. I don't know if it's on the rise because we're more aware of it, of certain things, or is it actually on the rise?
Yeah.
You know, but mental health is something that I feel like is getting insane. I don't know how else
It's
to
getting
say
a
it,
lot
but
of attention.
yeah,
now.
it's getting a lot of attention, specifically in the Black community. And I often find that we tend to ignore it a lot in our community. That's the reason why I want to have this conversation. Our listeners, you know that we like to have conversations where oftentimes people neglect it. And I feel like mental health in the Black community is important, specifically for Black men, because oftentimes Black men don't feel like they have the space to express themselves freely. And so we're here to do that here, you know? So tell the people a little bit about your background, who you are, what you do.
Okay.
And how does this conversation, how is this conversation near and dear to your heart?
Well, I'm gonna first say thank you guys for having me. And
pleasure.
You mentioned something about us having a conversation. I'm going to touch on that later because it ties into mental health.
Cool.
But my name is Ketayma. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, baby. I went to school for psychology. Got my bachelor's in psychology. Got my master's in industrial organizational psychology. I have been in therapy since 2013, on and off since 2013. I've had Black doctors, white doctors, female, male. I've done group therapy. I've done couples therapy. I've done all of it.
Couples too?
Yeah, I've done couples therapy, group therapy. I have seen a lot of trauma and been in a lot of trauma. But I work in TV and film. I was like, nah.
So this all aligned, right? You're on a podcast talking about mental health.
It helps me navigate the craziness.
Yeah.
That is Hollywood and just entertainment. But specifically, mental health is something that is very near and dear to my heart because I am a Black man. And I love being Black, and I am all for the uplifting and uprising of Black people. And I think that mental health is the biggest thing that we need to heal.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that specifically with Black people is how much we normalize trauma.
Yeah,
that part. That's a thing that's like
that part. We carry it like a badge of honor in a sense.
Yes, but then there's also just things that we don't realize isn't unhealthy.
Yeah, we normalize certain things.
Like, until you're just exposed to something. I did this study. It was pretty much examining the different stressors that Black women deal with in the workplace and white women deal with in the workplace. And there was a particular article that I read that studied who exhibits more symptoms of stress. Black women and white women. And the study showed that it was white women that exhibit more symptoms of stress. And you would think it's usually Black women because of, oppression and stuff like that. But what they said was that there's so many things that Black women have just accepted as normal that they don't even see it as stress. And that was the scariest thing to me because there's mad stuff that like I didn't know wasn't normal until I got out of it. I went back to be a high school counselor for like 6 months at my old high school. And we were just talking about stories about us almost getting robbed or almost getting jumped or almost, and it's just like, this not.
It's not normal.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's our normal, but it's not healthy. You understand what I'm saying? So, my favorite quote from Bob Marley is emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
Yeah, I love that.
The more we actually ask ourselves certain questions, the more
you're able to heal.
And then not contribute and pass these things down to future generations.
And that's the goal, making sure that we don't pass it on to the next generation.
That's the goal.
Right. And I love that you said that because I feel like we don't talk about that enough. We really operate in a way where the common traumas are our day-to-day norm.
But my question is, if it's normal for you, for example, I credit you with being in therapy for so long. And the reason why I say that is I feel like therapy wasn't fully accepted in society up until like a few years ago, where people were okay with saying, yeah, I'm going to therapy. I don't remember what show it was, but there was someone else talking about Black men in therapy. And they said, like, we're taught to either hold it in or take it to God. We're not taught to express it. And you're right. Well, we normalize a lot of trauma where the point where we're laughing about it or joking about it, sharing stories. But what was your aha moment that said, this is not normal and I should start seeking help? Because I think a lot of people don't know how to make that transition. It's not that they don't want to. It's just, it's so normal to them. They don't see a break in, maybe I need to, get some help for this.
That's a good question. My first thought is always my grandma. So like my grandmother always understood that I was the kid that beatings ain't gonna do nothing, punishment ain't gonna do nothing. If I wanted to do something, I'm gonna do it. Like,
I feel like those people always end up in filming. Because they're just like rebels. They're like, I'm doing what I want to do.
My energy. I'm going to do it. Like, that's just what it is. But my grandmother understood I needed things explained to me because I'm a smart guy. So it's like, if it doesn't make any sense to me intellectually, I'm not doing it. My grandmother would explain stuff. So a lot of the things that would happen around me, it didn't make sense because I grew up in a lot of chaos, trauma, violence, whatever, but my grandmother would explain stuff to me. So her explaining stuff to me always allowed me to take a step back and be like, oh, this is weird. Or this is not a good thing. So, but more specific, I realized, I think I was talking to my college girlfriend. I was like a freshman in college, something like that. And the way that I was talking to her, I realized, I was like, oh, this is how my family talks to me. And this is how my mom talks to me. This is how my father talks to me. And I thought that I was nothing like them, and I'm doing everything like that.
It'd be like that.
Because what people don't get sometimes is you try to not mimic the behavior, but you not trying to mimic the behavior. Sometimes you could just still get the same results. So if you grew up with a person, like your mom was getting physically abused, you could say to yourself, I'm never going to hit a woman, or I'm never going to be hit by a man, but you can still be verbally abusive. You can still be emotionally abusive. You can because you're not fundamentally getting to the root of what the actual problem is. So when I had that moment, I had two aha moments. It was that moment where I have an aha moment every 5 years, to be honest.
But that's good. That's what it should be, because that shows that there's growth.
I have an aha moment like every 5. So the first one was the one where I was realizing that I was treating my college girlfriend the way that my parents would treat me, not in a physically abusive or something like that, but it was like if she presented me with a problem that I couldn't solve, I was just irritated. Like, why are you presenting it to me when I'm realizing I'm just navigating my own? That's just me feeling inadequate, because as a man, you're taught you're here to solve problems, but you keep presenting me with problems that I can't solve. I can't solve any of those things. So why you keep presenting it to me? But it's like, no, you wanted to vent.
That's important, knowing the difference, right?
And understanding like that's what some people need. But I realized that I was hurting her. Not, again, I don't want to make it seem like I was like
he was not beating her.
No. I don't know. But I was still not making her feel good. And I didn't want to pass that on. I went to therapy like that next week.
Wow.
Yeah, I went that next week because
see, I wish more people were like that, because I think it's difficult for, I don't know, I think we have a hard time taking accountability. It's easy to blame everyone else for our issues and not take accountability as an adult and be like, all right, this is how I grew up, this is what happened, what can I do now to make changes? We often are like, yeah, my mom did this and my dad did that, and this is why I'm like this. Oh well, deal with it.
A quick follow-up. Was it a conversation with her that made you realize that, or you're kind of just thinking?
Yeah, it was a conversation that we had, and I had that realization. And then I actually had an entire emotional breakdown. And I remember that. To your point, like where you said, I wish more people were like that. I often try to not discredit like the privileges that I've had. So I didn't grow up rich or nothing like that. I don't have money, but having my pops in my life, even though he's not the best example, there's still a privilege that I have there. Having my grandmother in my life, there's still a privilege that allowed me to just think differently and address things differently. So the idea of taking accountability, I'm an accountable person, but those parts of me were nourished by my father and my mom's and my grandmother. So I was fortunate enough to have people who, you know what I'm saying, like who would instill certain things in me that like, nah, it's on me to fix it. But I didn't even realize I deal with, what is it, neurodivergent? That's what everyone calls it now.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I was just about to say, please elaborate.
I got everything, big dog.
Listen, I'm about to Google it right now. Neurodivergent.
So there's like that's typical and neurodivergent. Neurodivergent is like, you have something that makes seemingly normal activities more difficult for you, right? So I have ADHD, but I got ADHD, dyslexia.
Do you really?
I went to the psychiatrist. He said, D, above all. You got all of the above.
I'm done.
Depression, anxiety, dyslexia, and ADHD.
Really?
Yeah. And it's one of those things like, and to touch on the point, it's like, I got diagnosed with that stuff last year.
Oh, wow.
Officially. I've always known I had these things, but people will tell you, oh, you're being lazy. You need to work harder. You need to focus. You need to do this and that. I'm like, you don't think I'm trying?
Yeah.
These letters are jumbling in front of me, bro. Like, I can't focus. Sometimes I get incredibly sad to the point where I can't move, but because of the demands of life, I gotta get up.
Yeah.
If I don't move, I'm not gonna eat. If I don't move, so it's like a constant battle every day. But the second aha moment I had was, it was like maybe 2 years into therapy. This was a white woman. She was my first like white female therapist. I've always thought I was crazy. Like I just did. I just always thought I was crazy. But she was the first person to point out, maybe you're not crazy. Maybe you're actually a sane person who grew up in a crazy environment. And I was like, oh. So so that just always made me, just take nuggets and like think of stuff differently. Yeah, just even with because I'm not, I don't go to church or nothing like that, but I'll listen to stuff here and there. TD Jakes said something about the giraffe versus the turtle. where it was like they both can occupy the same place, but to have two completely different perspectives and speak from their perspective. So it was like you just
doesn't make it false.
Doesn't make it false. Doesn't even mean they're coming from a bad place.
Yeah.
They just come from their perspective.
Right.
So I'm constantly around. I realized I'm around a lot of turtles. It was like, oh, okay. So that constantly makes me, just re-examine the people around me all the time.
You said something about like you feel like you have to get up even when you're feeling sad, and I want to touch on that because I feel like a lot of people who may be listening to this don't realize that they have these issues because they're still functioning. And I think we do that a lot in our community, right? Despite what you're feeling, you have a bad day, go pray about it. All right, go sleep it off. Then maybe you need a snack, like little things like that. But we're functioning, and so because we're functioning, we don't view it as, what it could actually be. I think we tend to ignore the feelings because we're able to get up and go to work. We're able to laugh a little bit. And I've learned that a lot of times the people who are often laughing and joking and making others laugh are internally
dying.
Going through it. I was gonna say that, but they're internally going through it. And from the time I've heard that, I've looked at people differently. Now I'm like, who are my friends who are always laughing? What are they feeling deep down inside? And I think that's important to look at because I would have never known that.
That's always the hardest part. That's really it. The hardest part is I have really bad social anxiety. And people don't know that.
I would have never.
That's what I'm saying. Because
I'm literally confused. I'm like, wait,
I've never
always making people laugh.
Because it's if I know you, it's different. If I go to an environment where I don't know, if I don't know people, most of the time I'm not talking. I'm quiet. But because of how I am, or because of this and that, it's hard for people to even take what I say serious. That I have depression. And I have anxiety. It's what you got to be depressed about? It's hard for me to approach women and stuff like that because I get so much in my head that I don't
overthinker.
Oh my God, yes. And I explained to my friend a couple of years ago. We're both very creative, and we're both very intelligent. So which is great, but when you take that and then sprinkle in anxiety, now I can come up with all of the worst case scenarios that could happen.
Your creativity works against you.
It works against me. And I didn't even know. I didn't even know how bad my anxiety was until I left New York.
Wow.
Because in New York, it's
no one talks to you.
In New York, we don't understand how much we move in angst. Everything we move, the train, you got to get to that. Everything is in angst. So when I moved to California for a couple of years, it's oh, not everyone is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not worried about, relax. Oh, all right.
What's that?
Chill.
All right.
Lazy something. So it's a constant, battle, because I have to get up and do stuff and figure it out. This functioning depression,
I've heard.
Those are real things.
And I think that's the part for me, at least, where I started questioning. I'm like, do I have this? Because naturally I'm like, I go to work, I'm fine, I could laugh with people, you know what I mean? So I think oftentimes people don't realize that you could have some of these things even though you're functioning, even though you're going throughout your day-to-day doing regular activities. In my upbringing, I always thought that depression looked a particular type of way, if that makes sense.
Well, that's everybody's upbringing. Everybody thinks that it's some dude
under the couch, just don't talk to me, I got my liquor here. That's what I thought.
Nah, mine is one time my therapist, he explained that you could tell what I'm going through based on the cereal that I'm eating.
Really?
Yeah. So is
this in general or for you specifically?
For me specifically.
That's amazing.
Right? So for me specifically, I'm a latchkey kid, right? So, I came home, my mom's was at work. So you make food for yourself. Cereal 9 times out of 10 is the first thing that
comes to mind.
Yeah, because it's easier. You just make it for yourself. Based on what I'm eating, that's what I can say, oh, I'm depressed today. Where I am in life, based on what cereal I'm eating. Right.
It's interesting. Is it based on the sugar intake?
Nah, it's just
just habits, right?
Yeah, it's a mentality behind it. Because again, I'm such a high functioning depressive that I don't even notice.
That's the term I was looking for.
Yeah.
High functioning.
I'm a high functioning depressive where I need signs. That's I'm depressed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. So if it's I'm on my grind, I'm doing all right, Honey Nut Cheerios. Because because it's fake, fake healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is so
I want to
funny.
splurge a little. I'm feeling myself.
Mhm.
We couldn't afford name brand, so I'm gonna get myself the name brand Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
You feel
I'm
me?
sorry.
But if I'm depressed, it is the knockoff Lucky Charms from Aldi's. That's all I could afford.
Yeah.
Right. So Honey Nut Cheerios is fake healthy. So that means I'm on my fake healthy grind. I'm going to the gym. I'm lifting, Frosted Flakes, we couldn't get name brand cereal. My Frosted Flakes had a polar bear on it growing up. And the other one came in the bag.
Yeah.
So when I feel,
I'm done.
I think I remember.
I'm
that
sorry,
bag.
I'm still on that.
I think I remember that
What?
bag. Yeah.
so when I feel like I want to take care of myself,
Yeah.
do a little something for me, I get the Frosted Flakes. That's why I'm feeling myself. But
Yeah.
it's like the knockoff Lucky Charms.
Hmm.
It's like something wizard from Aldi's. I need help. I'm fighting for my life. But I'm such a high functioning depressive that I need an indicator.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, that's what's going on.
When does it hit you? When you're at like the cash register and you're like, oh snap.
When I'm on my 5th bowl of cereal.
Stop.
When I'm
Oh
on
my
fifth
God.
bowl of cereal.
Stop it.
I'm like, oh,
Damn.
all right. Damn right. Let me finish the box.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's so weird hearing you say all this because I would have never known, honestly.
mhm.
But you say you have social anxiety, but you're in film. Aren't you
Mhm.
constantly like meeting people? You have to engage all the time with strangers.
Is it well
How does
before
that
while you
work?
think about it, is it the case where because I'm an introvert, like at heart, but I could be a professional extrovert. Like if I'm out in the field interviewing people, I have no problem doing man on the street jobs, stopping strangers. But when I'm done with that, I'm like, I need to go into I need to visit the shadow realm and just stay there
No,
a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
I am perfectly an omnivert, but the extrovert and extrovert thing is more about how you receive energy, right?
Yeah.
So like if you need to refuel, do you need to refuel by yourself
Mm-hmm.
or do you need to refuel around people?
Mhm.
It's not particularly associated with like social
How comfortable-
interaction,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
but it's just more of how you refuel.
yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, well, first of all, most of the people, especially in TV and film, are introverts. Like especially
Mm.
actors, they don't want to be around people. They
So
weird
interesting.
most of the time. they don't want to do social stuff. They don't want to do any of those things. But something more important was like because diagnosis and stuff like that has been
Mhm.
a recent thing.
Yeah.
Like people recently have been saying depression and stuff like that. Before it was like, oh, you just sad or you something.
Yeah.
So I've had to force myself to navigate in spaces even when I didn't feel like it. And I had to learn this lesson earlier that I wish more people would understand now is that your diagnosis is not you. It's not who you are.
Right.
It's something that you have to factor in.
Mhm.
It's something that I have to think about.
Mhm.
It's something I have to navigate around. Like I have ADHD. I know it's going to be hard for me to pay attention, but I'm not just going to, I got ADHD, so I'm not going to do this.
Mm.
Or I got dyslexia, so I'm not going to read that. I got dyslexia. That's not
Mhm.
how that goes. I just know that, I have dyslexia, so now this may take me a little longer to do something, so let me factor that in.
Yeah.
I love TV and film. Like I've always loved it.
Yeah.
And as crazy as it comes and challenges the things that come with my mental health, what it does for me more is that it allows me to not feel like a coward.
Mm.
Mhm.
Because if I'm not doing what I want to do, I'll feel that's going to make me feel even worse.
Yeah. I see
You
what
understand what I'm saying? Like my father, the first time that I told him I had depression.
How did that go?
So
Because I feel like black dads,
Mhm.
that word should not be in your vocabulary.
I'm going to use this, and I hope people don't steal this, because I plan on using this in a movie one day.
Yeah.
But so one day I want to get a tattoo, right?
Mhm.
With some track shoes and a walnut. This connects.
Okay.
Well,
I was about to say,
so-
please explain.
So I'm gonna go back. So the first time I ever told, because it has to deal with depression and anxiety. So the first time I ever told my father I have depression,
Mhm.
right? So I was explaining to him why I wanted to leave New York. I was like, I was ready to go. I've been here my whole life. I wanted to figure something out. And he was like, nigga, you sound depressed. I said, actually, so 2 weeks prior to I was officially diagnosed with depression. So I said, actually, I have depression. He started laughing. Like he didn't take me serious at all. He started laughing. I said, oh, cool. So this is going to be the last time I talk to my pops, right? So I leave. My father calls me on the phone and I answer the phone. I've always called my father by his first name. So I said, what's up, Wayne?
I have so many questions.
I know.
Off camera.
I know you're
Mhm.
Haitian. You're malfunctioning.
Like, wait, what?
What? No, I've always called my father by his first name.
Yeah.
So I get on the phone. I'm like, "What's up, Wayne?" He's like, "Yo, Tama, are you serious about this whole depression thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a real thing for me, bro." He said, "I apologize for being inconsiderate." That's exactly what he said. He said, "I apologize for being inconsiderate, and you know what you need?" I said, "What do I need?" He said, "You know what my favorite animal is?" I said, "I don't know what your favorite animal is, bro." He said, "A squirrel." I said, "Of all the animals in the animal kingdom, a squirrel is your favorite animal, right?" So he said, "Yeah, because one day I was in the park and the squirrel took this walnut and buried it. And he turned and he looked at me and was like, shh, don't tell nobody." Now, if this isn't clear, my father clearly deals with mental health issues. Clearly, whatever, right? So then he said the next day, he saw the same squirrel bury a walnut and looked at me. He was like, shh, don't tell nobody, and ran off. I said, "You saw the same squirrel?" He's like, "Yeah, it was the same squirrel. It was a black squirrel."
I can't breathe.
I don't even know your father. I'm trying to picture him like
Wait.
a man saying it like that.
Imagine, my father looks like Bruh Man from the fifth floor.
I got the image in my head now.
So then he said, and that's when it hit me. I said, "What?" He said, "Purpose." He said, "That squirrel knows the only thing it's supposed to do is contribute to this earth. That's it. You're supposed to find your thing that you contribute to this earth and to make sure it keep going." So when you're not contributing to this earth, when you're not walking in purpose, you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel depressed. So find your squirrel, nigga. That's exactly what he said.
That's a quote. That's a quote.
And I said, I hate the fact that made sense.
Oh my God. No, he's right though, because we actually talked about this, didn't we? Where we learned that a lot of times when people are feeling down and out or feeling a little bit, depressed, it's often because they're not being productive at that time, and it ties in together. So I believe that 100%.
So that's how that connects with the whole working in film thing.
What about the sneaker? Like, why the sneaker?
With the sneakers, that's anxiety. So when I was a kid, my mom used to make me run around the track. I was a fat kid, so she'd make me run on the track.
Sorry,
laughed a little too hard. But so when I'm running around the track, I'm worried about how many laps I'm running. I see everyone passing me. I'm worried about all the things I have to do. I'm looking at people, like everything. I'm just thinking about all these different factors. And my mom just yelled, "Stop." She said, "Look at your hands and look at your feet. That's the only thing you can't control." So anxiety, I only focus on what I can control. That's it. That's what the only thing you can do. So it's just the track, shoes, and the walnuts. Those are the two things that help me.
I'm glad
your parents are deep,
for us.
Like, your parents are deep. That's some deep lessons.
I had a lot of questions. I was like, track, shoes, and
they ain't that deep.
But I think it could be culture wise, because and not to sound disrespectful or mess up to Haitians, but I don't think I've ever heard of a Haitian giving that practical of an advice. It's more so like you were saying earlier, what's wrong with you, you have a house, you have food, you're blessed, like suck it up, kind of thing. It's not really
our parents were like survival generation. So they're more concerned of like, you have everything you need to survive. So what's this purpose thing? Go pray. Like, that's really how they view things. Like, go pray. Go
even the
God.
fact that your father called you after that, like that was pretty dope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that because it's not just Haitians, I think it's an immigrant thing overall, right? So like, because my mom's Jamaican. So like, and you come from certain countries that have lower resources. The idea of thinking about how something makes you feel,
it's not
seen as a luxury. That's a luxury. That's a luxury for people who have money. But especially Black people are not treated as human beings, so we don't navigate in our humanness. Like, if something makes you feel bad, that's a human thing. If it's something that doesn't bring you joy, and people overuse it, oversaturate it nowadays, which is fascinating for me. But if you're gonna be at a job 40 hours a week, you should at least like it. It's a constant survival thing, and we stay in that survival thing. It's you ever seen that experiment with the flea? So like, every flea has the ability to jump 6 feet, right? That's what every flea does. But when they took that flea and put it in a container, it jumps. It's not 6 feet tall. It jumps and hits its head. So then now, after a while, that flea only jumps as high enough to like lightly touch it, but come down. And then when you have colonies, now all those other fleas are like making sure you don't jump too high so you don't hit your head. But every flea still has that ability to jump 6 feet. And we do that to ourselves, and it's not always coming from a bad place. It's not coming from a place. It's just literally you're trying to protect everyone, but you're not allowing people to just exist in their entirety of humanity. And I think that's something that I was fortunate enough to have my grandmother who
that's dope.
But I was big with boundaries. I'm really big with boundaries.
Yeah.
I've always had boundaries. I just didn't know I have healthier boundaries now.
Mm.
Before it was like fighting and yelling and
Yeah.
cursing and all this stuff because that was your way of setting boundaries. With my parents, I have very hard boundaries with them. They were able to do that work because there were certain things that I'm not tolerating from you at all, and I didn't navigate in that guilt or that shame because that's how, especially the children of immigrants and stuff like that, we navigate in guilt and shame.
Yeah.
Like we just navigate in it.
Yeah.
So like I don't have that where I was like, nah, I know you my mom's, but you can't talk to me like that.
Right.
And if you keep talking to me like that, I'm not gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
Same thing with my father. So a lot of that was me enforcing boundaries, but also finding healthier ways to enforce those boundaries.
I love that you said that because one of the things I wanted to touch on is about vices, because I think a lot of times, specifically in the Black men community, but I think every community, but I'm going to reference Black men, I think a lot of times we're taught to sweep things under the rug. We deal with problems internally, sweeping it under the rug or finding a vice. One thing that I thought was a legitimate vice is alcohol. Like I thought it was a manly way of taking care of issues, because if I were to drink, I'm able to it feels like I'm kind of like sitting back and I'm able to analyze my problems better. So I thought it was a healthy way, as long as I'm not doing it chronically, you know. But I always heard men say that. And ironically, one time we were at a winery, I'm not sure if you remember, and we was talking to a couple who were, I think, were married for like 40 years or something. And naturally, the advice of, what advice would you give? And I'll never forget that the man, he said this jokingly, but I'm like, that was the first thing that came to your mind. So you got to be right. Yeah. But he, in essence, said, a drink here or there helps. And I never forgot that because I'm thinking like it coincided with what I thought was a good vice. But of course, I had to learn that, you can't handle your problems that way. And you're sweeping it under the rug and it ends up coming out. Yeah. Anyway. Different ways. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about your experiences with sweeping things under the rug and vices, and why, in your opinion, you think stuff like that just doesn't work. Specifically targeting the Black male or the male population.
I think a lot of times our vices are celebrated. Like bad behavior is celebrated often, right?
I love that you said that, because when you said the drink thing, that I think of movies and shows. It's just like you naturally see people, a shot of whiskey, that'll solve all your problems.
Yeah. That's how they take the edge off and stuff like that. So for me, I don't drink at all. Never taste alcohol a day in my life.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things I remembered. Yeah, I was like, he don't drink.
Way life be life. I take my vices is like either cereal or women. Like those are the things. Like so. But because the other vice of that is celebrated is, diving and talking to and dealing with multiple women or something like that. I think if you have a vice that you're reliant on, then you're not actually addressing the real problem, right? So because I've never drank for the most part, I deal with life sober all the time. So there's no running. Yeah. There's no dodging, there's no anything. I have to deal with this because I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to get high or intoxicated. So there are times in which I don't think you should sweep anything under the rug, but knowing when to pick and choose your battles for sure is a thing. But also understand the people that surround you. What is it? Misery likes company. Yeah. So like,
whether they're causing the stress or they're helping the stress,
they think they're helping you. Yeah. Saying, nah, just take a shot. Just drink this. Nah. Yeah. You actually got to deal with your problems and actually understand what that means to really deal with your problems. Because there's times in which people will apologize, but you're not actually apologizing. You're saying, "Oh, I'm sorry if you felt this way." Yeah. That's not a real apology. Right. Taking accountability of your life when what that actually looks like. Understanding the difference between blaming yourself and being accountable. Yeah. It's two completely different things. And I think a lot of people, more specifically men, since mental health is starting to become like a thing and real popular and stuff like that, there are some men who are not actually utilizing what mental health really is and actually dealing with stuff and being honest with yourself, not checking your ego. Actually being receptive to feedback and criticism and stuff like that, so that you can, genuinely work on yourself. Not everything is your pride. Not everything is your ego. I wish that more men specifically would really actually address real stuff in their life and not just do things to make themselves feel better. Find the value of venting.
Why do you think that is that men do that?
I think men are more afraid than when they give themselves credit for. I think men are human beings, and I think that's just the fundamental thing that society forgets, that other people forget, that men are humans and we don't allow ourselves to be human in anything that exposes, because we still align being human as being weak.
Yeah.
My favorite superhero is Batman. He is the GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. And the reason why, one of the reasons why he's my favorite, because he's human.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gonna die for what he believes in. He's not gonna fold. He's gonna do what he wants. And his humanness is what makes him so dope. Like, at the end of the day, this is a mortal that's doing this. And I think if more men, more particularly black men, find the value in just, you're a human. Because we live in a patriarchal society. We live in a racist society. They treat black men, everyone treats black men like bucks. They never stop learning how to treat black men as like, what can you do? What can you provide? What abilities can you do? If something were to pop off right now and 30 men came in with guns and stuff like that, and you make it out alive and your wife doesn't, they're gonna look at you.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to figure out how to take out 30 dudes.
Yeah.
I'm lying?
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
And you are going to think about how I'm going to take out 30 dudes.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, that's insane, bro. You understand? But that is the unfair expectation that is placed on men.
Yeah.
And upheld by other men and a lot of times other women too. So finding the value, like, yo, you human.
Yeah.
That's just what you are. You're human. And that it's okay.
Yeah. There was a pivotal moment in your story that really touched me, was when you said what you said to your father, and he took it lightly at first, and then your reaction was, well, I'm never talking to you about this again. Because I think a lot of men go through that, where they might have a moment and they're vulnerable. They say what's on their heart, and they don't like the initial reaction they get, and they automatically take that as, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm never gonna speak about that again. What would your advice be to those men that they shouldn't necessarily have that reaction, but even if they get that reaction from one person, maybe don't just shut the door automatically?
I've never really been in intimate relationships where my vulnerability wasn't flipped on me, right? So
flipped in what way?
Used as a way, as me not being an adequate leader, used as like as a notch against who I am as a man,
right?
Or anything like that, or just used against you as like in an argument or something like that. To answer that question, I understand the bigger grand scheme of things, right? I understand that the bigger grand scheme of things is that we fundamentally live in a patriarchal society, and we fundamentally live in a sexist society and a racist society. And in this society, men with emotions is something that you genuinely don't.
Yeah. You don't know what to do with it.
You don't know because you're not taught with that. You're not taught. Men and women don't get it. There's men who have emotions and they think because I express it, you're emotionally intelligent. That's not what that is. And it's on vice versa. You wanted someone who's emotionally intelligent, I hold you accountable. You not even able to receive that. So understanding the bigger scheme of things is like my pops. When he had that reaction, my reaction was, I'm not going to talk to him about that. I didn't say I'm not going to talk to anyone else about it.
Boundaries.
I'm just going to know, okay, cool. This is not a safe space for me to have this conversation until you show me that it's a safer space to have this conversation. I'm not going to do that with you. That doesn't mean no one can listen and blah, blah, blah. So you have to practice discernment. Understanding who is a safe space who can have the safe space.
Knowing your people.
Or just in general, because you can meet new people, have a vulnerable moment.
That's a good point.
But then also trusting the fact that you'll be all right. If it does get used in a different way or something like that, like it's not the end of the world. It hurts and it sucks, but trust that you're gonna be, you'll be able to get past that.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of men do have that mindset. If one person shuts me down, that means the whole world is gonna shut me down,
and it's cowardly.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally a cowardly perspective to go because you're not trying. You're kind of like giving up. It takes effort to trust someone. It takes effort to be vulnerable. It takes effort to be discerning and learn it. Like that's effort. That takes courage. It takes stuff like that. And you just copping out like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cowardly approach.
Yeah, that's a hell of a way to motivate a man because no man want to be a punk. So you're saying I'm a punk for not being vulnerable? Watch this now.
Nah, you just not. You're a punk. It's a better way to go about it.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Now, do you think therapy is for everyone? Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at NOIRPOISED Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.